Welcome back to the only show where their sarcasm is sharper than your uncle's political opinions at Thanksgiving. I'm Ethan Blake, and today we're tackling another episode of They Can't Be Serious, but They Are. Whether it's a celebrity meltdown, a government cover-up, or another activist with a God complex, I'm here to put it under the microscope, poke it with a stick, and maybe even set it on comedic fire. So settle in, because we're about to turn the absurd into art. And yes, I brought the flamethrower, so let's get started.
For convicted felon Donald Trump,
Yes.
this is called normalization.
Yes.
Yeah. This is the descent into fascism, if we so choose.
Okay. She says, we're fighting 24/7. We are in crisis. These are the final hours. We need you. We need all of you. So this is Catherine Harris. So this is a lost cause, CBS News. We're going to have to forge on without them and just acknowledge complete leftist capture. But it's sad because it used to be our most revered organization here. I mean, of all the news outlets, CBS News used to be the one we all wanted to work at.
The leftist media just can't help themselves, can they? Trump barely had time to adjust the Oval Office chair before they erupted like it was the apocalypse. Why? Because their beloved party didn't win. And now they're throwing a nationwide tantrum disguised as journalism. The hysteria is off the charts, full of doom and gloom. It's gotten so ridiculous that even Megyn Kelly, yes, Megyn Kelly, had to step in and call out the hypocrisy with a dose of much-needed truth. If you're here for unapologetic hot takes, media meltdowns, and a reality check the mainstream won't give you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
So she goes over to the View, and boy, did she let it rip. Watch SOT 15.
Nobody gets a pass trashing America.
Yeah.
Puerto Rican Americans, nobody gets a pass degrading people. Nobody gets a pass degrading legal migrants and terrorizing people. Nobody gets a pass threatening his enemies with using the military against them. Nobody gets a pass on inciting an insurrection. Nobody gets a pass on saying he fancies Hitler and wants to have generals like his. Nobody gets a pass on insulting veterans and saying those who died for our country are suckers and losers, except for convicted felon Donald Trump.
Yes.
This is called normalization.
Yes.
This is the descent into fascism, if we so choose.
So, there's Mika Brzezinski banging the doomsday drum once again, rattling off Trump's so-called sins like it's the apocalypse. And did you catch that tone? She's practically seething that America had the audacity to give Trump another shot. Ever since his return to office, MSNBC has launched a full-scale crusade, turning every minor slip into a national emergency. But thankfully, voices like Megyn Kelly aren't playing along. She's standing her ground, cutting through the noise with clarity, logic, and a heavy dose of reality. Watch as Megyn dismantles Mika's meltdown with brutal precision. It's the takedown you didn't know you needed.
She says, we're fighting 24/7. We are in crisis. These are the final hours. We need you. We need all of you. We need all of you to vote. Hitler, 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 Hitler. The descent into fascism. Normalizing January 6th. It's a day of love. I'll say it again and again and again. Normalizing enemy from within.
Megyn Kelly didn't hold back as she tore into Mika Brzezinski for her latest wave of doomsday rhetoric and desperate plea to vote against Trump. With her signature calm confidence, Megyn exposed the glaring double standard at MSNBC, how Mika and her crew morph into prophets of doom the moment Trump's name comes up, yet suddenly go blind when Biden stumbles. Kelly laid out the hypocrisy in plain terms: skyrocketing inflation, a chaotic border crisis, and the botched Afghanistan withdrawal. All disasters that happened under Biden's leadership, while Mika conveniently looked the other way. But let Trump so much as post a typo on Truth Social, and it's treated like a constitutional emergency. Mika had no issue when Biden froze mid-sentence on stage or when his team fumbled basic economic messaging. Yet Trump's every move is met with breathless hysteria. Megyn made it crystal clear this isn't journalism. It's selective outrage masquerading as reporting, activism with a teleprompter, and she's not afraid to call it exactly what it is.
And I don't know why Donald Trump can vomit racism and his supporters clap. Meanwhile, she's asked to do everything in this campaign. In 3 months, she has done everything that's been asked of her and more. And she's trying, with the help of others, to take us away from a very dangerous path. We're on the edge of a cliff. This is the final hour.
She's done everything we've asked of her? Like to put two sentences together without sounding dumb? To actually answer questions that are pretty simple? She hasn't done that, Mika. I mean, we've been really following it very closely here. I think I can safely say she hasn't done that. It's a real problem, and it's directly led to her crappy poll numbers. And no amount of hysteria on your part. Just take a deep breath, sister, okay?
Wait a second. Can anyone out there actually recall Kamala Harris getting through a full speech or interview without launching into a word salad of rambling, meaningless sentences? Yeah, didn't think so. If you've got a favorite comma gibberish moment, drop it in the comments. I could use a good laugh. This is the same woman who once ran for president and was handed one of the most critical assignments in the country, managing the southern border. And what did she do with it? Absolutely nothing. Unless you count avoiding the actual border for months and repeating vague prepackaged lines about root causes as real leadership. Meanwhile, the crisis exploded. Record-breaking illegal crossings, fentanyl pouring in, and border towns stretched to the breaking point, all under her watch. And yet, the media still props her up as some kind of historic trailblazer instead of calling her out as the walking PR disaster she's become. If this is what the left calls competence, then we're in serious trouble.
And it's really irresponsible. And I really don't think, we didn't even want to confirm a Supreme Court justice nominated by an outgoing president. Why should an outgoing president be allowed to start World War III and then pass the baton to the incoming? They give security briefings to the incoming president at this point. He should be involved at a minimum in the decision making here, because he's the one who's going to have to deal with this. Trump, not Biden. I mean, Biden can't be reached by anybody. Not even Jill, I'm sure, at this point.
Megyn Kelly didn't just call out Mika Brzezinski for her hysterical doomsday rant. She also came to Donald Trump's defense amid the media's relentless attacks. According to Megyn, the mainstream press is behaving as if Trump's been back in office for years, completely ignoring the reality. He's only been back a few months, and before he can even begin implementing his own agenda, he has to deal with the chaos left behind by the Biden administration. One major crisis Megyn highlighted was the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, a geopolitical disaster that escalated under Biden's weak leadership. Let's not forget, Putin didn't dare invade during Trump's first term. But under Biden, full-scale war, emboldened enemies, and a White House that couldn't draw a red line with a ruler. Megyn's point was clear. The media is eager to blame Trump for every problem while turning a blind eye to the wreckage Biden left behind. From foreign policy blunders to economic instability, Trump inherited a mess. Yet outlets like MSNBC demand instant solutions from him, while giving Biden 4 years of softball interviews and endless excuses. The hypocrisy couldn't be more obvious.
The Trump dance is everywhere. It was in the footy, it's even in European soccer, but not everywhere on American television. What is going on with CBS?
I mean, they continue to beclown themselves. I feel like the Trump dance is a little higher.
Yeah.
I think it's like,
it's a bit
it could be down low. Yeah. But I think it's like a little higher, isn't it? And then you got to do the golf swing.
Yeah.
Right? That's part of it. CBS, they haven't learned. They're run. Did you see Scott Pelley's summary of the Trump nominees? You've never seen a piece of tape so biased, just ripping. He pulled out the worst allegation against each one of them, as if it completely defined each nominee and was the sum and substance of each man or woman. The least generous, most oppo dump piece of information. That's 60 Minutes. That's CBS.
Megyn Kelly also took aim at CBS for their bizarre hit piece on Trump's now viral dance. Yes, a dance. In true legacy media fashion, CBS somehow managed to turn a lighthearted, playful moment into yet another manufactured outrage. Instead of focusing on real, pressing issues, they obsessed over Trump's every move, literally, and twisted it into some kind of national crisis. Kelly rightfully mocked the absurdity, questioning why a harmless gesture drew more media backlash than Biden's repeated mental stumbles on the global stage. But she didn't stop there. Megyn tore into the media's relentless witch hunt against Trump's nominees. Every appointee is treated like a scandal waiting to happen, with reporters digging through old tweets, past statements, or even facial expressions during hearings to find something, anything, to discredit them. It's a coordinated campaign to smear anyone remotely tied to Trump, regardless of their competence or qualifications. Kelly's takedown was both brutal and long overdue. The media isn't holding power accountable. They're defending their narrative, and anyone who threatens it gets destroyed. She also called out CBS again, this time for their infamous Kamala Harris interview, where they reportedly had to edit her answers just to make them sound coherent.
They still haven't released a transcript, and she's lost. So release the transcript now. Let's see what you did to improve her chances with her mangled answers. They won't, which means releasing it would confirm they behaved unethically. There's zero reason now not to release it. She lost. It's over. Let us see how bad she was, unless it's not her badness they're trying to hide, but their own. 60 for two massive presidential election cycles now has beclowned itself with the Trump thing. You can't verify the laptop. It's unverifiable. Well, their own organization verified it 2 years later.
Megyn's absolutely right, and she didn't hold back. The networks weren't covering Kamala Harris's blunders. They were covering themselves. Let's be honest, they knew that if the public saw the full transcripts of her incoherent ramblings, the truth would be undeniable. The media's golden girl, the one heartbeat away from the presidency, struggles to form a coherent sentence, and their terrified people will notice. Rather than hold her accountable, as they would with any Republican, they bury the gaffes, edit the clips, and pretend everything's fine. Why? Because if Americans actually heard the unfiltered mess, they'd stop trusting these networks as sources of honest reporting. And that's the last thing these so-called journalists want. It's no longer about informing the public. It's about protecting the brand, maintaining the narrative, and shielding their political favorites from real scrutiny. Megyn called it exactly what it is: blatant media manipulation. The American people deserve better than filtered spin and curated sound bites. They deserve truth, transparency, and accountability, no matter which party is in power.
So this is Catherine Harris. So this is a lost cause, CBS News. We're going to have to forge on without them and just acknowledge complete leftist capture. But it's sad because it used to be our most revered organization here. I mean, of all the news outlets, CBS News used to be the one we all wanted to work at. It was Mike Wallace. It was Ed Bradley. It was 60 Minutes Murderers Row. They would sit down with the Ayatollah and give him a grilling. It was magical. It was amazing. Those days are gone.
It's true. CBS once stood as the gold standard of journalism. There was a time when it was the go-to network for balanced, unfiltered reporting. You could tune in confident that what you were getting was the truth. No spin, no partisan slant, just the raw facts, allowing viewers to form their own opinions. They didn't play favorites. Whether the person in power was a Democrat or Republican, CBS held them to the same standard, asking tough, necessary questions without fear or favor. But fast forward to today, and what do we see? A network that walks on eggshells around Democrats while sharpening its attacks for Republicans. CBS, once a symbol of journalistic integrity, now selectively curates facts to fit a narrative. Instead of holding those in power accountable, they act as PR agents for their preferred side and relentless critics of the other. The credibility that took decades to build is crumbling before our eyes, and viewers are taking notice. Trust is fading fast, and CBS has no one to blame but itself. The fall from objective journalism to partisan advocacy is not just disappointing, It's a betrayal of the audience they once respected.
For sure, we're getting rid of these illegals. For sure, the deportations are happening. This guy, Homan, as we discussed, he means business. Trump means business. This truly was a mandate to get them out, as many as humanly possible. You can do it humanely, at least in the case of those who aren't active criminals, but it must be done. And I mean, many of us have been wondering how on earth are they going to do it without the help of some extra force, because ICE doesn't have the bodies. So what if we use the National Guard to help with this kind of thing?
Megyn Kelly wrapped it all up by defending one of Donald Trump's most controversial, yet, in her view, essential campaign promises to deport all illegal immigrants and restore law and order across the country. From day one, Trump made it clear that securing the border was a top priority. And since returning to office, he's already overseen the deportation of thousands of illegal immigrants, a move Megyn views as a necessary step in the right direction. Predictably, the usual suspects, MSNBC, CBS, The View, are in meltdown mode, portraying the policy as a humanitarian disaster. But Megyn isn't buying into the pearl clutching. She argues that a country without borders is no country at all. Enforcing immigration law, she says, isn't cruelty, it's common sense. It's about protecting American jobs, safeguarding communities, and restoring faith in a system that's been exploited for far too long. For Megyn, this isn't about partisanship, it's about principle. And if the mainstream media won't say it, she will. Securing the border and cracking down on illegal immigration isn't just smart policy, it's vital to the future of the United States. And with that, we wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.